Well, let's start with integrative restoration.
Well, it started back in the 70s when I was teaching general yoga classes, and I'm also a psychotherapist, so I was seeing clients. And actually, back in the 70s, I was also studying Chinese medicine with a Taoist master as well, so practicing Chinese medicine. So I had an integrated approach on a number of levels. But I recognized that a lot of the people coming to my classes had some form of trauma in their life. So I started adapting some of the movements that I was using in my clinical psychology practice with the yoga. And there was a long ancient practice called Yoga Nidra. Yoga meaning we're living in a very undivided, holistic way within ourselves. And Nidra, while it means sleep in Sanskrit, it actually is a changing state of consciousness. So it means no matter the changing state of consciousness, we're meeting it from that very deep, integrated, holistic way within ourselves. So we might be feeling sad or happy, we might be feeling grumpy and irritable, we might be feeling joyful, but we're meeting with the same quality of inner equanimity. And so I started adapting the practice of Yoga Nidra to the people that I was working with. It originally came from the East with a lot of Eastern qualities about it, which as I was working with Westerners, it didn't quite resonate. So I started tweaking it, you might say. And then in 2003, I was actually approached by the US military who had heard of my program because they were desperate for alternatives for working with returning veterans from the war fronts with post-traumatic stress disorder. So they were really open to alternative practices because the traditional practices were maybe 50% effective for healing trauma.
What were the traditional practices at that point?
Exposure therapy was the main one. So exposing veterans to the same conditions that they had encountered at the war front and slowly helping them in a way adapt or become non-sensitive.
So loud noises, for example, or bright lights.
Yeah, and that ultimately was not a very successful protocol. So I entered into this first initial study with 17 veterans. The military test for post-traumatic stress at the lower end is 40. Anything below 40, no post-traumatic stress. Anything up to 80 was post-traumatic stress. So all the people entering into the study were right around 80, 79.
What do those numbers signify?
High levels of anxiety, depression, internal stress, internal vigilance that you can't get away from, sleeplessness at night, all the kind of general symptoms we might find with someone who's been through extreme trauma. And at the end of the study, they were all below 40. One woman was hovering right at the 40 level. And it was so successful that they integrated it right into their clinical program at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, where today you can still get my program as an option for your healing. And then subsequently, the Miami VA picked it up, the Chicago VA picked up, the Texas VAs picked it up, and now we're in about 85 VA centers across the United States, also in Germany and in Ohio. And the program then kind of took off. And to date, I've trained around 6,000 teachers, 25 countries. And we actually now have a iRest Institute China. So I'm going back and forth to China to help people over there who are under tremendous duress and stress from the economy and from the conditions they're working under. So we're in Australia, we're in England, we're all around. And then we have a new branch called Cyber Minds, which is working with the post-traumatic stress of the workers in the cyber industry because they're under constant stress working for corporate government, where, say, a corporation or the government is under constant attack. Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. And so they know that either they've been attacked or the attack is in the system and they haven't discovered it yet. So they're under constant vigilance.
Yeah.
So we created programs to help them learn how to get a good night's sleep, how to help them with the stress and the duress so they can keep going.
Wow. That's powerful stuff. That's so interesting to consider the sort of condition of hypervigilance when you're working in, computer coding and wow, very interesting.
And in general, most people these days are under some continual stress, whether it's their economics or some other element in their family or their social setting. So we've developed this wonderful self program where you don't need an outside therapist necessarily. You can go through the program incrementally on your own and learn the kind of tools you can take with you into your daily life and relationships. That's the strength of the program.
It's really a powerful, transformative method, and I admire how you've adopted from your early practice with Chinese medicine and then came to this point where it was valuable to an institution like the United States military and Veterans Administration. It's just astounding to me.
Yeah, I would never have known I would be doing what I'm doing. When I started out on this journey, I was just simply seeing a few people in my clinical practice and teaching some yoga classes, and all of a sudden it became this whole program that's worldwide now.